UCLA athletics lands a major financial benefactor, but at what cost? The Dodgers make the same motion adjustment on two pitchers and now both are injured. The Chargers claim their receiver room is a plus, so long as they keep Ladd McConkey in one piece. Good morning. I'm James. And this is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos morning report. It is June 10th, 2025. Welcome back to the Sanctum Sanctorum of LA sports. It's going to be a lovely day, so long as you avoid ice. Yikes. But if you like being in the know about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment. Now, before we go through the news and notes, a quick look at the scoreboard. Dodgers 8, Slime Diego 7 in 10 innings. I'm sorry, beat who? Beat who? Because I don't think you did. You didn't beat LA. By the way, the Dodger magic number slides to 95. Also, Golden State edged the Sparks in overtime, 89-82. As for today, the Dodgers are in Slime Diego once again at 6:40. And what do you say we get to the news? And I want to preface this by saying things like finances and numbers. They're always difficult to describe on a podcast or a YouTube channel, but stick with me because this is really important, because a global sports marketing agency created a $500 million capital fund for college athletic programs, and UCLA became one of its first two clients. Depending on your perspective, UCLA athletics has either been given a lifeline to help it out of its suffocating debt, or the Bruins just made a deal with the devil. Because this is not about some old octogenarian grad who's like, I really enjoyed my time at UCLA, while he's watching his last heartbeat go down his blue veins, and then he just signs off a check for UCLA before he slides into the abyss. That's not what's happening here. This is a business transaction. This is about making a profit. And I'm not trying to tell you that profits are bad. I'm just trying to tell you that this investor is eventually going to want their cut. Okay? The reason I can't tell you for sure if this is a good or a bad thing is because sports journalists are ill-equipped to describe contracts. They can tell you when, say, Mookie Betts signs a contract because there's just a year and a number and that's it. But this is a massive business transaction. I'm not trying to say that it's illegal. I'm saying it's unprecedented and we don't know if it's going to be a good thing. Because also, all the principals involved, they're giving us the happiest of happy talk. The happiest happy talk that ever happied. My God, it's more happy than what you would see in an old school Disney film. Back when Disney was about making kids happy, right? But if you sit there and you're listening to all this, it really starts to sound super sketch. Maybe it's not sketch, but it sounds super sketch. Why? Because Elevate, the name of the marketing agency, partnered with a private equity firm named Velocity Capital Management. Now, what does a private equity firm do? They buy into a distressed property. Then they increase the distressed property's value, often by cutting. And then they sell their piece for a handsome profit. Now, despite having more than 100 NCAA titles, UCLA fits the definition of a distressed property. A report last month suggested the athletic department is more than $200 million in debt. That's a distressed property, guys. But you go and ask UCLA's athletic director, Martin Jarmon, and he's all, private equity? What private equity? Jarmon told Yahoo Sports, quote, Elevate is a current ticketing partner of UCLA Athletics, and we are exploring the opportunity to expand the partnership, but private equity funding is not involved, unquote. Yeah, sure. Just a ticketing partner. They want to make sure that you get your tickets from StubHub in a timely manner. What a great bunch of guys. I'd be likely to buy into this partnership more if it wasn't a private equity company, right? If it were just a random private investor, maybe. But even a random private investor would want their money back. If you're trying to tell me, look, you're trying to tell me that a private equity firm just ponied up millions of dollars without using private equity money. Does that make sense to anybody? Because it doesn't to me. Now, there are other ways that this could presumably be profitable, right? For example, UCLA thinks it can make money with upgrades to the Rose Bowl and Poly Pavilion, like luxury seating, right? Maybe UCLA will get so much money out of that Big Ten contract that it turns out to be a profitable venture. Those are possibilities. But make no mistake, private equity firms use their money to make a profit. They're not here just because they think UCLA is such a swell place. If you've ever worked for a company that was bought by a private equity firm, you knew damn well layoffs were around the corner. Layoffs. Now, I'm not predicting that I know this is going to happen because I haven't seen the contract. But neither have the journalists. So if you're a UCLA fan, be wary. Be very wary indeed. With the Dodgers, Blake Snell is scheduled to pitch a bullpen sesh today. The dude has been sidelined with a shoulder injury. He hasn't pitched off a mound since April. Yikes. But having said that, it's just a bullpen sesh. It's not even against batters. So we're talking about just another little baby step in the long road back to actually being in a major league game. Speaking of injured Dodger pitchers, recently we talked about Tyler Glasnow adjusting his motion over the offseason. He dropped the arm angle about 5 degrees. The idea was they wanted to take pressure off his elbow, and all it did was jack up his shoulder. You know? Kind of like the laws of physics. If you're going to transfer it somewhere, it's got to go somewhere else. That strain, that stress. The Athletic reported also that the Dodgers tinkered with Tony Gonsolin's motion. You know what they did? They dropped the angle by 5 degrees. Just like Glasnow. Now, I realize it's only 2 pitchers. It's not enough to say it's definitely cause and effect. But it's kind of tempting to say cause and effect. Don't you think? When will teams learn not to screw with Clayton Kershaw? I'm not saying the Dodgers screwed with Clayton Kershaw. They damn well know not to do that. The guy's a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer. Oh, no. They're not screwing with Clayton Kershaw. But even that, not only why would other teams screw with Clayton Kershaw, why would you screw with the guy? I mean, what? You don't like people who help kids with AIDS? Really? But you can add the Saint Loser Cardinals to the teams that want to troll with the guy, which immediately preceded bad events. Before Sunday's game at Busch Stadium, the Cardinals video team played a clip from more than a decade ago. It was Matt Adams who hits a go-ahead home run off of Kershaw in Game 4 of the National League Divisional Series. The Cardinals eliminated the Dodgers from the postseason that day. Not as crass as the crying Kershaw meme from Slime Diego, but it's pretty far down there. So what did Kershaw do? Well, he pitched 5 shutout innings with 7 strikeouts. Kershaw told the Times, he noticed, quote, "It's a little Busch League, but I don't expect anything less from these guys," unquote. Stop trolling Clayton Kershaw. You will pay. And by the way, speaking of petty opponents that will pay, Former Dodger and current Padres slugger Manny Machado said he was getting his teammates focused on this current series. Not just in the last few hours, no, but for an entire week. All he wanted them to do was build up for the Dodgers series. And if you ever wanted, he told so, he said that to MLB Network. If you ever wanted proof of little brother syndrome from our slimy neighbors to the south, this is it. So a good amount of Dodger news to discuss. Chargers offensive coordinator Greg Roman spent Monday talking up the receiving corps. Night and day, he called it, the difference from last year to this. And then he slid in that everything still revolves around keeping Ladd McConkey alive. Without him, it's day back to night. Midnight. That's how dark. Still, Roman said he was scheming new ideas to boost the passing game, saying specifically about McConkey that he was, quote, just so dependable. We were able to do things with Ladd in year one that you generally don't do with a guy until year 3 or 4. His football IQ, a lot of different things that give him options to get open and stuff like that. Graduate level stuff, as I like to call it. We're really looking forward to growing in that department, unquote. All of this probably means, from multiple things that I've read about the Chargers training camp, is McConkey is not going to be lining up solely as a slot receiver next year. And that really makes sense because ESPN.com last week reported that Chargers coaches are deathly afraid of setting McConkey over the middle repeatedly. Because even though he's good at it, it's still playing with fire, and one day he's going to get his clock cleaned by a safety. And again, they can say the receiving room is night and day, but no McConkey, no chance. Midfielder June Endo is available to return to Angel City FC this Saturday. Endo is one of 8 players remaining from the inaugural season of Angel City FC back in 2022. She hasn't been here for over a year. She blasted out an anterior cruciate ligament during the preseason last year. So welcome her back. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. UCLA Athletics has private investors now. Is this a good or a bad thing? For that matter, how stoked are you that the Dodgers got off on the right foot in Slime Diego? And if you enjoy the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.